Now that I have fooded myself up, we are prepared for this court case. Let's go.
How did the investigation go yesterday, Mr. Wright? Well, frankly, there's still a lot of gray areas. Or rather, the whole thing is one big gray area. Don't worry about me. No matter what the outcome, I'm ready to accept my fate. I believe in you, sis. Oh, nature. Mr. Wright, let me offer you a word of advice.
Yes?
A defense attorney should never believe their client. The defendant is called to trial because they are suspected of wrongdoing. Never forget that. Miss Skye, you remind me a lot of Mia. But there's one decisive difference between you and her. And that is, you're not a defense attorney. I believe it's almost time for the trial. Good luck, Mr. Wright.
We defend the hell out of this girl. My first trial without a Fae helping me. No one's gonna bail me out this time. I'll be all alone in there. So I have to discover the truth all by myself.
Let's do it, Mr. Wright. I'll be with you the whole way.
I have to win this trial. I win her little sister if I win the trial. Wait. Court is now in session for the trial of Miss Lana Skye. The defense is ready, Your Honor. Prosecution has been ready for a while, Your Honor. Edgeworth. It's been 2 months. I haven't been in a courtroom since his trial. I hope that personal feelings will not be a part of this trial of the proceedings today, Mr. Wright. I will choose the path that I think is right, regardless of what those around me might say. The judgment to be made here is in our hands, not those of anyone else. Very well. Mr. Edgeworth, your opening statement, please. Chief Prosecutor Lana Skye has committed an unpardonable crime. Not only this, but she was rash enough to commit it in the prosecutor's office lot.
Wow, he's much more forceful in person. I suddenly feel like confessing to everything.
However, she will now pay for her rashness with her life. There was a witness to her crime. A professional witness. Well then, call your first witness, Mr. Edgeworth. The judge always that old man? I think the judge changes in one of the games. But otherwise, I think it's always the old man, if I recall correctly. The prosecution calls its first witness, Miss Angel Starr, to the stand. The cough-up queen. Haven't I seen you somewhere?
You ordered the caviar lunch, right?
Oh, caviar! I've never eaten caviar before. Angel Starr sounds like a porn star name? Yeah, it does. The judge is really wolfing that down.
Ah, and for you, I have a Fiesta Bowl.
Thanks. Will the witness state her name and profession?
Ah, and you, sir? Did you order the fingerprint lunchbox?
It is too early for lunch. Your name and profession, please. Yeah, it's like 9 a.m. A little early for a bento box.
Well, Your Honor, how does it taste?
Well, this is why everyone raves about caviar. It's so tasty, it hurts. I always thought caviar would taste like pickled tapioca.
What the heck does pickled tapioca taste like?
Name, profession, now.
Me? The name is Angel Star. Don't go forgetting it. I find myself running Lunchland these days. Is that what you wanted me to say, Mr. Edgeworth?
Very well, witness. Please describe this incident to us. The prosecution will wait. I'm not finished eating.
Hurry up already.
I should have just eaten while the judge was doing that, because that would have been perfect for the feel of the trial, but oh well. Very well, Mr. Edgeworth. As you know, we usually call in the police to provide a description of the crime.
Your Honor, as Mr. Edgeworth has said to the court, I am a professional.
What exactly does that mean?
Until 2 years ago, Miss Angel Star was a special investigator with the police. She was a first-rate homicide detective. Eh? Miss Star was a detective?
Aha! I know who you are. Cough up.
Cough up, Queen Angel Star, Your Honor. Long time no see.
Very well. You may continue with the description, Miss Star.
Just who is this lady? If I might have the court's attention over here. Thanks for the follow, Maccabi. I hope you enjoy the stream. Thanks for the support. The parking lot at the prosecutor's office is divided into 2 blocks. A block is for the prosecutor's office personnel. B block is for visitors and clients. Sorry, I made her voice a little too harsh for the way she's talking right now. A chain divider separates the 2 blocks. I suppose it's to keep visitors from taking up prosecutor spaces, yes? The crime took place by a car in the back of the A block in the car's trunk. The killer stabbed the victim with this knife and went to drive the body out. Unfortunately, for her there was a witness and an arrest was made on the spot.
And who was this valiant witness?
Why, it was me, Your Honor.
Some floor plans, all right. Witness, did you see the very moment of the crime?
Of course, Your Honor. Immediately after that, I apprehended the chief prosecutor.
It seems rather cut and dry, doesn't it? Well, Mr. Wright?
I can't agree on principle, Your Honor. It would seem that some poor losers are unwilling to accept the truth, Your Honor. Shall I proceed to crush what little hope they have remaining?
If you can, then give them your worst, Miss Star.
Wait, are they talking about me?
All right.
Somehow, I always knew a day like this would come. I was on my way to deliver a lunchbox to my boyfriend. When I sensed something, perhaps it was my finely honed detective's intuition at work. Through the wire fence, I saw the chief prosecutor standing next to a garish car. The chief prosecutor was holding a knife in her right hand. Then she thrust the pointy tip of the knife into Detective Goodman's chest.
Bringing a lunchbox to your boyfriend. How touching.
As you can see, there is no room for doubt.
The key point of your testimony seems to be nothing other than the point of the knife which you saw being stabbed into Detective Goodman.
So, how does it feel to be so utterly crushed?
I'm still thinking about that.
Tis merely a flesh wound, Mr. Wright.
Very well, Mr. Wright. You may cross-examine the witness.
Okay, always knew a day like this. I didn't see anything that immediately jumped out at me. Actually, through the wire fence, she saw the chief prosecutor standing next to the car. And if we, look at the parking lot plans, if it's through the wire fence that she saw, she would have had to be in the B block. So that, I'm gonna press that statement. And of course, they're going to focus on the car. By garish car, you mean... Mr. Edgeworth's car, yes.
Mr. Edgeworth's?
Incidentally, the knife with which the victim was stabbed was also Mr. Edgeworth's. Wasn't it?
Indeed, it was. What an odd case this is. And the person you saw, are you sure it was the defendant?
I saw her from no further than 30 feet away. I'm certain it was her.
If she's telling the truth, then we're doomed.
Let's just do what we can. Even if we don't have any proof, we can always nitpick. We're dealing with Edgeworth here.
We're dealing with Edgeworth here. I need something more substantial than that. Can you tell us what the suspect was doing when you saw her?
Holding a knife in her right hand, she thrust the pointy tip into the chest. All right. You said the flesh wound thing before. Anything else? Scientifically speaking, Miss Starr's testimony is flawless. Sounds pretty fatal to me. What do we do? Is this it? Is my sister guilty? Let's just keep our heads cool and press the witness a bit, shall we? For some reason, having her panicking next to me makes me calmer. Don't smile like that! Alright. Well, let's just start pressing some stuff. So, delivering a lunchbox to your boyfriend. Which boyfriend was it? This boyfriend. He's the detective. Not that boyfriend. The security guard.
That boyfriend? You have several?
Yes, this boyfriend, that boyfriend, and the other boyfriend. Care to join? The yet another boyfriend position is still open for applicants.
I'll stick with the lunches, thanks.
Note to self, the judge had to think before replying. The security guard room is in the lot in the A block. It's up on the second level, so you can see everything from there. That'd be the room with the security sign. Incidentally, did you bring your lunch boxes by car? Since I'm a visitor now, I parked in the B block. So she was in B block when she witnessed the crime. Alright, finely tuned detective senses, huh? Eh? So you sensed something. So you're saying you had a premonition of the murder. It felt like... how would you say? Oh yes. It was like the feeling you get when you view a pumpkin chock full of seeds.
I have no idea what this means.
Speaking of a detective's intuition, wasn't the victim, Mr. Bruce Goodman, also a detective? Yes, well, he was like a young cheese.
A young cheese.
A pale white cheese, not yet tangy with experience on the streets. A greenhorn.
Then I must be hard-yellowed and sharp as a tack.
Yeah, with the odor of an old cheese to match.
I will now find the defendant guilty based on that statement. How dare you insult my smell?
In any case, there in the lot I felt something stirring in the back of my mind. Okay, so she was in B block. Do I have anything else I can point out here? Not really. Holding a knife in her right hand. Let's press that. Tell me more about this knife that the suspect was carrying. Well, I'd say the blade was about 4 inches long. Isn't that right, Mr. Edgeworth? It is your knife, after all.
Yes, that's about right.
Prosecutors are, by nature, well-versed in the location of a man's vital organs. I'm sure it was easier than boiling an egg for my egg salad surprise set.
You can't testify as to her ability to kill an egg. I mean a person.
Perhaps a chicken salad set would have been a better metaphor.
So the defendant was holding a knife. What then?
Thrust the pointy tip into Mr. Goodman's chest, which I believe the autopsy report, chest wound, yep. I'm just gonna press everything because I got a bunch of nothing right now.
Tell the court why you didn't try to stop this crime.
You did see her raise the knife to strike, no?
The defendant has a point.
Unfortunately, by the time I realized what was going on, it was already too late.
Too late?
Yes. The next moment, the chief prosecutor brought down the murder weapon.
I see.
Okay, 'tis a flesh wound.
Alright, this is the only statement I haven't pressed. This better give me something. How did you know?
I respect the prosecutor's basic abhorrence of crime. Yet their methods are ugly and twisted. Twisted methods will always lead to tragedy.
The lunch lady's uninformed opinion is duly noted.
Given that they're used to erasing inconvenient evidence at their whim, killing off a detective that knew too much is merely an extension of that. Miss Starr, do you have something personal against prosecutors? I felt that I had found my dream job when I became an investigator. And if I hadn't been laid off by the prosecutors over there, I'd still be one.
Laid off? So she was fired.
To me, prosecutors are nothing more than worms. That said, I am a pro, as you know. My testimony is unbiased and flawless.
Very well. You may continue, Miss Starr.
I've pressed everything, haven't I?
This is still the biggest, outlier to me is this one right here. And because she even follows it up by saying she was no more than 30 feet away, that means that there's possibility that there was something that obstructed her vision and might have messed with stuff. So her testimony is less concrete. If I press this, do I get the same dialogue? Mr. Edgeworth's car, yeah. Uh-huh.
I'm certain it was her. Oh, this is new. Witness. Witness, in your testimony you clearly stated the following. Prosecutors are nothing more than worms. Ergo, you are a biased witness. Oh, I needed to press the other statements first. Oh. Well, that's the thing, Slade. If, at that point, I would have presented probably the floor plans against her testimony to say that her vision could have been obstructed or something, but I would have been reaching. You are a biased witness. You might want to keep those silly opinions to yourself in the future, rookie. Huh? Rookie? Unless you're willing to risk the consequences of doubting me. I'll fry you like a fritter. Crispy on the outside, chewy on the inside.
That was inspiring.
I believe I've heard that tagline elsewhere. You could cry plagiarism. I may be relegated to the lowly post of lunch lady, but my instincts are honed.
A photograph? You took this?
I took this, smiley face. The moment I witnessed the crime, my reflexes took over and snap. I took the picture. In fact, one of my lunchboxes is rigged with a camera. I suppose that's more exciting than just hanging it around your neck.
Witness, why am I only seeing this photograph just now?
You think I'd show it to you, a prosecutor? Think again. I'm withholding evidence. My boyfriend works in the photography division of criminal affairs.
Well, this is most certainly the defendant.
Uh-oh, that is unmistakably Lana Skye. So, what was the defendant doing at the time? Holding a knife in her right hand. But wait. She wasn't holding a knife. Hold up. Look at this, she ain't holding no knife or nothing. And she didn't drive it into his chest. Objection! And you witnessed this. You saw Miss Skye stab the victim with the knife. As I've already said, yes. I swear it on my finest salmon swirl lunch.
I'm sure that is a fine lunch.
But, isn't that odd? Look at this photo...
Look at this photograph. Every time I do it makes me laugh.
Okay, I should stop doing that joke every time, but I'm gonna do it every time. This is the photograph you took of the very moment of the crime, is it not? Then why is Miss Skye not holding a knife?
Mr. Edgeworth, your thoughts?
Objection. That had to be the weakest objection ever, Edgeworth. Yet it was still stronger than your ever feeble mind, Mr. Wright.
What do you mean, Mr. Edgeworth?
This photograph was not taken the moment before the stabbing. This was taken the moment after the stabbing.
Objection!
And how can you tell that? Blood splatter. Huh? Well, true, she is splattered in blood. See the dark crimson stains on the chief prosecutor's coat. How do you know they're crimson? It's black and white. It's a black and white photo. Ah, thank you, game. Thank you, game, for my exact thought process.
Ah, yes, it's hard to tell, but this could certainly be blood.
Well, Mr. Wright, I see no problem here. No problem, except you. No problem, except you. Mr. Wright, are you going to just sit there and take this kind of abuse? You got a better idea? No, I can object.
She had a contradiction in her statement. Wait, that contradicts what the witness said in her testimony. Namely, that she took the picture the moment she witnessed the crime.
Well, it seems I was slightly unclear. My apologies.
That's it?
If you run out of lunch, you order seconds. Problem solved.
If you don't like it, try ordering the jumbo-sized lunch from the get-go.
Good advice. I'm not sure I understood it, but good advice. I didn't have time to stop her. Prosecutor Skye was cold, calculating, like a robot. She killed without pain or remorse. It was a premeditated murder.
Premeditated? How do you know? Look at the chief prosecutor's hands in that photograph. Well, are those gloves? Surgical gloves made of thin rubber, most likely. Why would she have those on? If it was not premeditated, she would not be wearing those gloves. His gloves do seem to tell a tale of premeditation.
Premeditated murder. A serious offense.
Witness, add this to your testimony.
The murder was planned. The rubber gloves prove it.
She even swaps her eye out from the
ma eye
to the I'm gonna step on you and end your lineage eye. So that's the only new statement I got. Was that it's premeditated because she had gloves. Objection! Objection, madam! I'm gonna press the statement first. Hold it! What if she was just in the habit of wearing gloves? Like driving gloves? The gloves were admitted as evidence when the defendant was arrested. They were rubber gloves of the kind used for autopsies.
In other words, when the chief prosecutor came to the crime scene, she came to do murder. It's the only possible conclusion one can make. Everything was planned. It was a premeditated crime.
Impressive. I'm sorry they took you off the force, Miss Starr. This is bad. She's got them thinking it was all planned. If she can prove this claim, the trial's already over. Gotta think of a way to show it wasn't premeditated. Alright, game, I already have an idea. So if this was a premeditated murder, I have a good question for you, chat. What tells you that it's not a premeditated murder? Because I believe a piece of evidence does contradict that. Also, you say she has heterochromia, but I think it's just a matter of the difference of where her eye is positioned. So one's a little darker than the other. Anyway, very simply, the murder weapon. She didn't plan, like, the murder weapon doesn't seem to have been planned. It was from Edgeworth's toolbox in the back of his car. Oh. Clicking it again just does that. That used to present it. Alright, ready? Objection! Witness, do you know what this is?
Are you trying to test me? I sell lunchboxes for a living, you know. That's a knife. The knife. The knife that was in Mr. Edgeworth's trunk.
Indeed, it is my knife. Oh, Edgeworth's knife. Oh, what's with this case? Remember, the bloody murder weapon, a red car, all belongs to the prosecutor there. Why does Edgeworth have a fucking knife? The defendant is the chief prosecutor for the district, right?
Mommy, are prosecutors bad people?
The defense has a request. We ask that the witness provide an accurate testimony.
What's that, rookie?
In your testimony, you stated that Lana Skye planned this murder, and that's why she was wearing those special gloves. Now, the only way that could be premeditated is if she knew 100% that Edgeworth always has that knife with him at all times in his trunk and doesn't take it out ever. That's the only possible way. That's my reasoning for that. And they said that Edgeworth and her weren't very close, so I kind of doubt it. Seems like a natural conclusion to me. The gloves do indicate planning. However, why would she not also prepare the most important thing? The murder weapon. Oh. This knife just happened to be in the trunk of that car. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're going to plan a murder, you don't forget the weapon. Ah! Order! 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 Great. Now the tide is turning in our favor. Great show, Mr. Wright. My sister's as good as free. Right. I believe the next lunch you'll be eating is humble pie. Nanda? I hope you weren't deluding yourself into thinking that the tide has turned. Not over such a trifling detail. But this shoots a hole in the whole premeditated theory. Bah. The prosecution could care less if it was premeditated or not. The only one who seemed to care is that lunch lady over there. The defendant, Lana Skye, murdered a detective with a knife. That is the only thing that the prosecution need prove. Nothing else. Very good, Mr. Prosecutor. I suppose you think you're clever now. But you know as well as I do that she planned on killing him. It was planned. If it wasn't, why would she have been wearing? I believe I'd like to hear your testimony again. Witness, please tell us only what you saw, not what you thought. How dare you? My powers of deduction are not to be underestimated. Really now? I can see why she got fired, probably for something similar to this. Lana Skye intended to murder Detective Goodman. That's why she called the victim all the way to the prosecutor's office. I'm sure the chief prosecutor had a grudge against the victim. Nothing else could drive that human machine to plunge the knife in again and again. Uh-oh, she made a boo-boo. The victim was summoned from the police department to the prosecutor's office. It does sound a lot like premeditation, doesn't it? So, if I ordered a pizza, does that mean I'm planning to kill the delivery boy? In any case, the defense may now cross-examine the witness. Alright, madam, you done messed up. I don't even have to try on this one. Plunge the knife in again and again, huh? Well, according to the autopsy report, one knife wound. Bam! Objection. Easiest game of my life. You say she stabbed him again and again, but you couldn't have witnessed that. Are you testing me? Then I'll test you. With my moss surprise. Yeah. I'm afraid the moss is growing under our feet as we make, Miss Starr. What do you mean? I shouldn't have to explain this, but take a look. The autopsy report states that death was due to a loss of blood from one stab wound. Aha! You're right. Good show, Mr. Edgeworth. What a hunk! He's my hero, really. I'm going to NTR Edgeworth so hard now. You gonna get wrecked, Edgeworth? Or maybe I'll NTR you with Edgeworth. I'm a loose cannon cop that's not afraid to break the rules. What about my objection? No one noticed? Well, witness. You got the crime scene set, right? Oh, thanks.
I always believed that no one could ever mistake ketchup for blood. But now I realize that such mistakes are possible.
So, you're saying you mistook something for blood?
When she lifted her knife, I thought I saw blood at her breast. Splattered blood from her victim. That's why I thought she must have stabbed him at least twice.
Then tell us what you saw that you thought was blood. Testify! Oh, Lord, testify!
All right. Her red muffler looked like blood to me. That's how ghastly the whole scene was.
Red muffler. Was she wearing a muffler? Hold on. She's not wearing a muffler. Get out of here. Absolutely get out of here. Get your ass out of my face with this extremely easy to pick apart testimony. Give me a challenge, madam. The witness is clearly not suited for detective work. Wait, did Edgeworth just object to agree with my objection?
What?
The suspect was not wearing a scarf or muffler of any sort when she stabbed the victim. And you've proved it yourself with this photograph.
Huh? But that can't be.
Only a professional lunch lady could be so utterly clueless. Congratulations, perhaps you finally found your true calling in life. Harsh words, but good.
In the end, Mr. Edgeworth prevails. What was my objection? Chopped liver? But I was there. A scarf. No, not that, but something red, really.
Well now, where were we? The witness has given us an entertaining interlude, but back to business.
What?
Very well, witness. Continue your testimony. You saw the crime and apprehended the suspect. Tell us about that.
Very well. I do remember some things accurately, at least.
Ultimately, we couldn't shake the most important part of her testimony.
The most important part?
I would ask you not to read my mind while I'm thinking. Jeez, the part where your sister stabs the victim. This next testimony might just be the moment of truth. Alrighty then, what do we got?
After the murder, the suspect attempted to run behind a partition off to her side. I quickly caught her, explained her rights to her, and arrested her on the spot. Yes, when I arrested her, she mentioned the muffler. That's what had me confused in my earlier testimony. The chief prosecutor made to escape, but against Angel Star, resistance is futile.
You are quite determined about this scarf, aren't you?
I strike like a snake and bite like a cobra.
So like a snake.
That's me, Angel Star.
I find that hard to believe, though. That wasn't a very good metaphor. First of all, a cobra is a kind of a snake.
Don't bother me with details unless you want to get bitten.
No thanks.
Note to self, Mr. Wright is weak against poisonous snake bites.
I think most people are weak against poisonous snake bites.
The chief prosecutor tried to resist, but her efforts were in vain. She knocked my hands aside, kicked over an oil drum.
An oil drum? Hard to imagine.
Oh, she's beautiful, but deadly. A predator, this one. A leopard woman. Yeah. Go!
Very well, Mr. Wright. Your cross-examination, if you will.
Okay. So I want to press this, because she said she was at least 30 feet away. You say quickly, were you close to the suspect? As I just said, I was only 30 feet away from her the whole time.
Maybe I should press her for more details.
Yeah, I'm gonna press her. I'm gonna press into her. I'd like to see this on the floor plans, just to be safe. The Lunchland car was... She was a visitor, thus she was parked in B block. So you witnessed the murder from here?
That would make it about 30 feet from the car, yes.
Is that correct, Miss Starr? Yes, that's right. But there was a chain link fence in front of you. I went over it, of course. In that outfit, before that person could run away.
Amazing! The cough-up queen lunch lady athlete, indeed.
It would have taken her a little time to climb over the fence. So she couldn't have gotten to my sister that fast. Yeah, that fence was about 9 feet high, too. So how did Miss Sky not get away? Okay, talk to me about that muffler. Because this is apparently very important to her, so... She mentioned the muffler. When exactly did she say? If I remember exactly, I would have told you in my testimony. Cheeky. Anyway, all I heard her say was the word muffler.
Just that one word.
So, what you heard wasn't the suspect talking to you, but to someone else. Yes, the chief prosecutor was talking on her phone. Her phone? I'm gonna push further here. By phone, do you mean this phone discovered at the crime scene? Yes, ultimately. Ultimately? My memory. It's like a salmon heading upstream, you see.
No, the court doesn't see, Miss Starr.
The chief prosecutor first attempted to use the phone hanging on the wall.
On the wall?
That's right. Near the car, there was an emergency phone on the wall. But it was out of service. Apparently, it was out of order.
And so she used her cell phone.
Indeed, the emergency phone was out of order that day.
Good witnessing, witness.
Good witnessing? Whatever happened to good testifying?
You should, of course, add this to your testimony.
The things I do to please this rookie defense attorney. The murdered muffler was overheard during a call made to Emma at 5:18. I saw it all, how she tried the phone on the wall but had to use her cell instead. Well then. I don't like this statement. And that's because of the positioning on the phone on the floor plans. The telephone is positioned behind a partition. She could not have seen it no matter what angle she's at. So, I guess I can just present this. Hold it! Objection! Miss Starr, I have to conclude that you have a personal grudge against Miss Lana Sky.
The witness is a former detective. Her testimony is unmarred by personal bias. Hey, Blazing Jackenzie, what's up?
Well, who would have thought that you would be my knight in shining armor, prosecutor? You who, together with the chief prosecutor, kicked me out 2 years ago.
Well, Miss Starr, this is a fatal contradiction with your testimony. How do you explain this?
I don't know what you're talking about. Mess with me,
And I'll make you cough it all up. Let's look at the floor plan, shall we? You said you witnessed the crime from this point. However, if that's true, you couldn't possibly have seen Miss Sakai making that phone call. I believe you see what I'm getting at. That emergency phone was on the back of this, back side of this partition. If indeed you were in B block, you couldn't have seen it. Oh yeah, we've cornered her, chat. It's time to put this girl in the corner and just keep banging her until she gives up. Wait. With evidence and testimony.
What? Nani?
Order! Order! What is the meaning of this? It's simple, Your Honor. She's not coughing up lunch. She's coughing up lies. That's quite a claim, Mr. Wright. Perhaps you'll allow me a question. Tell us exactly what lie this witness has told the court. Here's where the counterattack begins. I can't afford to get this wrong. The witness lied about... Well, where she saw it would be my first guess. Miss Sky tried to use the emergency phone, but it was out of order. What is significant about this fact? Nothing. Therefore, it would be pointless for Miss Starr to lie about it. Pointless to lie, I see. But say the witness did actually see Miss Sky using the emergency phone. That would mean Miss Starr witnessed the crime from a different location. A different location? Now that's a pointless lie if I ever heard one. Before you call my lie pointless, at least let me tell it. Wait. Let me rephrase that. Let me ask our question to our clever wordsmith, Mr. Wright. Just where was the witness when she saw the crime? All the testimony we've heard up until now points in one direction. The place she witnessed the crime was here. Best I could guess is the security room. I hope I'm not wrong. Take that! Take that! Thank you very much, Blazing Jackenzie, for the follow. Glad to have you here, and I hope you enjoy the show. This is the only place where she could have been. The security guard room? Indeed, the security room in the underground parking lot is well positioned. It's built on the second floor so you can see the entire lot. She would have been able to see the emergency phone from there. But why there? There are many other places where she could have seen the phone. Not in this case, Your Honor. The witness, not being part of the prosecutor's office, couldn't park in the A block. The only place where she could have seen the crime in the back of the partition is here. I remember in your testimony you said you brought a lunch to your boyfriend in the security guard room, yes? Well, Miss Starr? How many years have I been getting the better of men? To think that the tables could be turned. Today a man has gotten the better of Angel Starr. Order! Order! Witness! What have you done? You used to be a detective. You should know better. I'm not turning back. The guilty will be punished.
And I'll do what I must to make sure that justice prevails.
The guilty? Is she talking about Miss Sky?
Mr. Wright, doesn't this strike you as odd? Why would Miss Star lie? It doesn't make any sense.
Huh?
She could have just said she saw the crime from the security guard station. It wouldn't have changed anything.
Exactly. This photograph tells all. It was the defendant who stabbed the victim. But you can clearly see that the photograph was taken from B block, which means she would have had to go all the way around. So, there's a big lie. That lie is the time it would have taken her to get to the suspect. That truth still stands. Objection! It still stands. I disagree, Mr. Edgeworth. What? If a witness is found to be lying, they're guilty of perjury. She knows this. She wouldn't risk that without a good reason. So, tell us what her reason was, Mr. Wright.
Me?
Who else?
Mr. Wright, let's review what we know. Miss Starr witnessed the crime from the security guard room. She lied and said she saw it from B block. It must make a vital difference, but what? What would change?
Distance to the crime. That's what I was getting at. And it changes the distance between her and the scene of the crime. Objection! My condolences, Mr. Wright, but one look at the floor plans and it's quite clear. The distance between the scene of the crime and the guard station is about 30 feet. I don't see how that would change what she could see. Objection! What she saw is not in question here. What matters is the time it would take her to reach the scene of the crime. Miss Starr, you witnessed the crime from the security guard station. Now, how long did it take you to get there? To the scene of the crime where you arrested Miss Sky. Well, witness?
You.
Yes?
You ordered the squid wheels, right?
The quality of my lunches has gone from low to inedible.
I was bringing a PB&J sandwich with fresh boysenberry jam to my boyfriend.
Boysenberry for the boyfriend.
He wasn't in the station, so I waited. I witnessed the crime from the glass-walled station. And before I knew what I was doing, I found myself running towards the scene. But the door was locked. I couldn't open it.
Look at how long that would take. Wow.
And that's why I had to go through the visitors' parking in B block.
That's quite a detour. It's quite a detour indeed, jeez.
It probably took me at least 5 minutes to get to the scene of the crime.
5 minutes? Jesus. This changes things considerably.
But it was that woman over there in the defendant's chair who stabbed him. I know it. I have photographic evidence. I swear it. I swear it on my finest plastic spork.
She's slow. She probably wears heels. Running in heels, probably not easy. You have a point, and the spork is a wonderful invention.
Would you like another caviar lunch?
Absolutely. Uh-oh.
Mr. Wright, you have to do something.
Do I have any evidence to stop this? Well, yeah. I'm gonna object. If she had 5 minutes, why wouldn't she freaking leave? 5 minutes between the witnessing of the murder and the arrest. Think about it. You could make pasta in that amount of time. If you like it al dente. I've got lunch boxes that tie pasta into knots, rookie. A 5-minute blank. Isn't that strange? Strange. If you were a criminal, what would you do with 5 minutes, Your Honor? Well, I guess I'd flee the scene. Hey! Don't get the wrong idea. I didn't kill anyone. But you have the instincts of a killer. You would run, but this time was different. Miss Skye dawdled at the scene of the crime. She even had her picture taken. No true criminal would act this way. It's inconceivable. Yeah! Well then, it seems we've come to the end of this testimony. The witness has a grudge against the defendant and a blank in her testimony. Mr. Edgeworth, is the next witness ready to go? Unfortunately, I appear to have overestimated this witness on account of her professional history. We did it! We screwed that can shut, Mr. Wright. That was too close. Alright, easy, day one. I'm afraid that the cough-up queen has been dethroned. And with that, this court is adjourned. Hold it. Mr. Edgeworth, you ordered the squid wheels, right? That's the one she tried to foist off on me. I prefer to not take the defense team's leftovers. Anything else to say? I might be able to save you. I have decisive evidence. What was that? This is another one of her trick lunchboxes. My apologies, but we have no further questions to ask of you, Miss Starr. Ah. Is this your jumbo lunchbox? Oh, a triple-decker. Out of deference to the witness's determination, I shall allow one more testimony. Let us hear about this decisive evidence. Like the Lunchland motto says, you won't be disappointed. What's she gonna pull out of her lunchbox this time? You have as much time as it takes me to finish my jumbo lunchbox to get your evidence in. Oh my god, that's so good. Alright, go ahead with it. I should have mentioned those 5 minutes when I wasn't looking at the crime scene. And now, to the matter of the victim's shoe. Did I not bring this... New evidence, okay. 2 types of blood were found on this shoe. One was, of course, the victim's. And the other blood type matched that of the defendant, Miss Lana Skye. The shoe proves it. It's flawless, decisive evidence. What? There was blood found on that shoe. Try Lunchland for all of your lunch and decisive evidence needs. Witness, what is the meaning of this? Why is this the first time that I've heard of this evidence? Simple. As I've already said. I don't trust you with evidence, Mr. Edgeworth. That's why I took the liberty of investigating this myself. And you had blood tests performed? Didn't I mention? I have 3 boyfriends in forensics. In any case, Your Honor, I cannot accept this as evidence. What? You must know the 2 rules of evidence law. Rule 1, no evidence shall be shown without the approval of the police department. In other words, this shoe is illegal evidence, at least for the time being.
Is that right, Mr. Wright? Seems so. Edgeworth sure is celebrating. Not so fast, Mr. Edgeworth. Don't forget, I used to be a detective. As I mentioned previously, this shoe has already been tested by a member of the forensics department. As you can see, it was approved by the police department as of today. Even the general public can produce official evidence, Mr. Edgeworth. Is that right, Mr. Wright? It seems so. Edgeworth sure is looking pretty sullen. You could at least study some evidence, Rawl. Really?
The prosecution's complaints notwithstanding, it appears that this evidence satisfies the first rule of evidence law. However, it seems you have yet another count against you, witness.
Anything to assure that the guilty are properly judged. White enamel shoe bears traces of blood from Goodman and Lana Skye.
Very well, Mr. Wright, you may cross-examine the witness.
Okay, so first things first, before I cross-examine anything, I want to look at this shoe. I want to examine the shoe. So what do we got? We got blood. It's blood. It's my sister's, right? It appears so. Lana's right hand was bandaged when I saw her in jail. She must have cut herself at the time of the crime. Poor Nason. Alright, let's take a big sniff of the shoe, Phoenix. Yeah. Blood on the bottom as well. Ah! There's blood here too! On the sole of the shoe, it's gotta be the victim's. He must have stepped in a puddle of his own blood. All this blood. It's horrible. This blood might be an important clue. Okay, interesting. Anything else? Those are the only things that really stand out. Okay, 2 types of blood. One, of course, was the victim's. The other blood matched that of the defendant. Flawless, decisive evidence. I want to press this first off. See if we can get any further in that, because I don't think that's decisive. Can't let this evidence go through without a fight. You ordered the peppered fish guts, right? Some like it hot, Mr. Wright. Some like your client. She's in enough hot water to make a whole vat of soup. Mr. Wright, do you or don't you have a problem with this shoe? Oh, I just thought of something. Chat. Chat. If there was a puddle of blood and everything all over the place, why wouldn't that have been at the crime scene? And on top of that, if there was blood at the bottom of the shoe, shouldn't there have been footprints from either the victim or the suspect from stepping in the blood? There was no blood at the scene of the crime, really. That's a contradiction. This is critical. Is there a problem with the victim's shoe? Oh, there's a problem, all right. If I'm not imagining things, I'd say there's one critical problem with this evidence. A clear contradiction. That gleam in your eyes. You're still young, rookie. I'd give you a peppered fish gut now. But you couldn't take the heat, could you?
Let's hear what Mr. Wright has to say. What is contradictory about the victim's shoe? Show us a problem with the evidence.
Oh, well, if it's a problem with this evidence, it would have to be here at the bottom, right?
I wonder if you noticed. There's blood on the bottom of the shoe.
Don't mess with me, rookie. Or it'll be your blood on the bottom of my shoe.
Ludia stare. Indeed, there's quite a bit of blood on the bottom of this shoe. It makes sense. The victim was stabbed with a knife. What could possibly be contradictory about blood on the bottom of the shoe? Okay, so the shoe's not going to be the evidence. I'm gonna guess the crime photo will work. There's probably a couple things that'll work here, but I'm gonna guess the crime photo is the number one because look, do you see a puddle of blood on the bottom of on the floor or anything? No, you do not. Take that! The problem lies in the footprint.
The footprint?
Note that the bottom of the victim's shoe is covered in blood. Then isn't it strange? Why weren't any bloody footprints found by the scene of the crime? Shoes are also black. The shoe was the victim's shoe. But either way, whether it was the victim or the suspect walking around, there should still be a puddle of blood. So, either way. Aha! As you can see, there were no traces of any such footprints at the scene of the crime. That contradicts your claim about this shoe. Objections! Thor slain for 8 months. Thank you very much. You're you for the 8-month resub. Welcome back. Thanks for objecting into my heart. This picture only shows part of the floor, so there could have been bloody footprints. Objection! Then where are they, Mr. Edgeworth? Because we checked the scene and found nothing of the sort. Oh, no bloody footprints. Objection. Order! 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 Well, witness.
What? Great going, Mr. Wright. But it's true that the lack of a footprint is a contradiction. But then we have to ask why there wasn't a footprint.
Oh, that's true. There has to be a reason why there wasn't a footprint.
Think, Mr. Wright, think.
Hey, I don't know why it's not there. But Phoenix, you do know. I have a good idea, too, of a possibility that may work. I'm just good at finding contradictions.
Eh?
Oh, Edgeworth with the assist. I see. Now I get it. Get what? Our witness is more devious than I gave her credit for. We were hoodwinked to the very end. But she slipped. There's one vital hint to the truth in her testimony. Alright, so my idea is there were two barrels, two drums, two oil drums, and at least one of them had water, the other was knocked over. So if anything could have washed away the evidence of blood, one of those being knocked over is a possibility. But I don't know how exactly that clears us, because in the 5-minute run she was taking over, there's a possibility that the killer could have done that, but you know. Wash away the anger! Anyway, what are you talking about? Think back to when she told us about apprehending the suspect.
The chief prosecutor tried to resist, but her efforts were in vain. She knocked my hands aside, kicked over an oil drum. Oh, she's beautiful but deadly. A predator, this one. A leopard woman. Gow! Gow!
We need to cross-examine that barrel and get its testimony. I thought that was a strange thing for the normally cool-headed chief to do. No kidding. Now, witness, allow me to ask a very simple question. This oil drum, was it empty?
Oh, that. I'm not sure I like your attitude, Mr. Edgeworth. Though apparently you're not the slowest conveyor belt in the lunchbox factory.
Witness, well, was the oil drum empty?
The oil drum kicked over by the chief prosecutor was brimming with water.
Water? What does that mean? Still don't get it, Mr. Wright. Do you want to know the reason she knocked it over? The real reason? Aha! You don't mean... Yes, the suspect knocked over that oil drum for one reason and one reason alone. To erase the bloodstains that would become evidence against her. Uh-oh. That kind of goes against me. Where did the water go? Well, seeing as it's an underground parking lot, there's a possibility for a drainage grate to be down there, you know? Could have just a lot of it knocked into there. That ties things up quite nicely. The bloodstains left on the victim's shoe tie her quite clearly to this murder. Then, after the deed was done, she knocked over the oil drum to erase the telltale signs.
Why, that's a prosecutor's specialty. Erasing evidence.
That reminds me, Miss Skye's right hand was hurt. Didn't she say she'd cut herself when she stabbed him? Which makes extra not a lot of sense because she was apparently stabbing him with her right hand. How could she cut herself on her right hand when she was holding the knife in her right hand? What? Especially when the knife quite clearly has a hilt. It's like a hunting knife or something.
So that's when my sister's blood got on the shoe.
Well, I see no reason to prolong this trial.
But, Mr. Wright, do something, please.
What? What can I do?
Your sister confessed to the crime and she tried to conceal it. But...
Enough. There's no need for further debate. The verdict, Your Honor. Very well.
But Angel Star is on the prosecution's side. She could have been lying about the water.
This court finds the defendant, Miss Lana Skye.
Hold it! Little girl, what did you just say? Huh? Me? Did you just say that I, Angel Star, was on the prosecution's side? Well, yeah, you are. You're saying that my sister hid evidence by erasing the bloody footprints. Well, I thought you'd had your fill, but here you are demanding a second helping. Another lunchbox. A lunchbox called evidence.
Wait, witness, don't tell me you have something else. The time for deliberations is past. Any further comments and you will be held in contempt of court.
Your threats don't scare the cough-up queen. Look at this!
Oh. That's interesting. A photograph? And it looks like there's water all over the floor.
I had it just in case anyone had the gall to suggest that the white shoe didn't belong to the victim.
I see no room for error in this evidence.
Mr. Wright, wait! Look at the asphalt in this photo.
Hey, it's clearly wet. Erasing the last trace of doubt from the court's mind. However, I saw something else interesting.
I'm sure Chat saw it too. Chat's a bunch of smart fellers.
Immediately after the murder, the crime scene was washed with water.
I'm sorry, Mr. Wright. I guess I couldn't help after all. It's not your fault. I knew I couldn't win this case from the beginning. And it seems this is what your sister wanted anyway. I'm sorry, Mia. Right, wet or not. Don't be so quick to throw in the towel. Get yourself up off the asphalt. Take another good look. Don't give up. Not until the bitter end. This is the last piece of evidence.
Very well. This time, I'd like to declare a verdict for good.
Objection!
Objection! Your Honor, wait.
What is with you people? Can't I hand down my verdicts in peace anymore? Whatever it is, can it wait?
No, it can't, because then it'll be too late.
Look at this photograph. Every time I do it, the last one that's submitted.
This trial isn't over until we give each piece of evidence proper consideration. So, right. Are you saying there's a problem with this latest piece of evidence? Yeah, I'll think later. Yeah, there's a problem. Right or wrong, I've got to just go ahead with this.
I suppose since we've come this far, we should give every claim a fair shake. Very well, Mr. Wright. Show the court the problem in this photograph.
Well, chat, hey, remember when she said she clearly heard her say something about a muffler?
Take that!
There's something in the muffler. The problem in this photograph is here. What's this? There's something poking out of the car's muffler.
Wait just a moment, Mr. Edgeworth.
Your Honor.
You just said muffler. However, I see no trace of a muffler or scarf of any kind in this photograph.
A muffler is also part of a car or motorcycle, Your Honor. Just think of it as part of the exhaust system. A pipe.
I see, and I see.
How old is this judge? Is he from the time of horse-drawn carriages? Jesus. I don't know a lot about cars. Even I know what a freaking muffler is.
What's that suspicious-looking cloth sticking out of the car's muffler?
So what if there was something sticking out of the muffler? What does that have to do with this case? Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Objection!
You don't know what mufflers are on cars? It's literally just an exhaust valve. It's where the smoke comes out of the car, you know? It's where you stick your dick in order to fuck your car. As you've seen in so many hentai. Sorry, Miss Star, but it's not going to be that easy. In fact, you've already told us why this is important to the case. You said as much in your testimony. What? Don't you what-face me, chat.
Let's hear what Mr. Wright has on his mind. Tell us why you think this piece of cloth in the muffler is related to this case.
Well... I'm gonna go with... neither of these. No. Oh, no. The only thing I can think of is the phone. Because the word muffler was overheard during a call made, so... Das Phone!
Take that!
Miss Starr, recall your testimony for the court. Oh, yes. When I arrested her, she mentioned the muffler. That's what had me confused in my earlier testimony. Muffler. Yeah! Could it be that the muffler you heard mentioned was actually this exhaust pipe? If so, that means this piece of cloth is vital evidence. Yeah! I think we defeated her, chat.
Well, it seems we will have to suspend the proceedings.
Suspend?
I find myself wondering about that piece of cloth. If we leave any question unanswered here, we do a disservice to the law. Have the car at the crime scene inspected at once and bring me that cloth. The verdict will wait until after we've seen all the evidence. Agreed?
I suppose so. Phew, that was close. But we made it. At least for now.
This court will adjourn for a 30-minute recess. It's lunchtime after all.
He's still hungry? No, for real. He had a caviar lunch set and then a jumbo box, and he's still hungry? Where does he put it all? All right, that was day 1. We did it. Now, if, since this is the case 5 here on the first game, I'm guessing that this is probably going to be a full 4-day case. In which case, chat, will we be able to prove the innocence of our client? Or is Edgeworth going to get the better of us? And most importantly, will we ever get a good lunchbox from the cough-up queen herself? That's the really most important thing of all. I guess we'll find out next time. Besides, we have to get testimony from, like, Cowboy Man at some point. How could they introduce him without him giving testimony? He better have a testimony per a section, because I want to pick apart Cowboy Man's weird cowboyisms. All right, so we're going to suspend this, and I'll see you on the next stream for this, chat. I hope you enjoyed. Have a great night, and thanks for watching. Bye-bye.